Good morning, Minnesota, and welcome to the February edition of SSIS Coffee Talk. We're going to be talking about the SSIS statewide release, version 25.1. I am your host, Ross Stack, and I am an e-learning instructional designer with the Learning and Development Team, which is an arm of the SSIS user support team. So let's get right into the agenda for today's meeting. We're going to do welcome and introductions, and basically I already did the welcome. So introductions will happen. Each person that comes on to present will also introduce themselves. Makes it a little bit easier. We'll go through the housekeeping and Tennyson warning. We'll have some announcements. Then we'll get right into the release information, including the architecture and profile changes, documents, general reports, person, work group chronology, child safety and permanency, SSIS repository, and fiscal. Then finally, we'll do our SSIS resources and close the meeting with some additional announcements. Our housekeeping, as always, attendees have been muted. To speak, you can raise your hand using the reaction emoji at the bottom of your screen, and you'll be unmuted by a panelist. Questions can also be submitted using your chat feature, which will be monitored by one of our SSIS business ops staff. Closed captioning can be enabled using the CC button located on the bottom left of your screen. This session is recorded and will be posted on the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy website in the near future. A follow-up document will be prepared and distributed to attendees 7 to 10 days following this WebEx. Here's the Tennyson warning. Please take a moment to take a look at it, read it over. This is giving you your information about this webinar being recorded. So I'll give you a moment to read it over. Hopefully that was enough time for you to get through the Tennyson warning. If not, we can take a look at your copy that you have in your email and you can finish reading it over. So we'll move on and we'll get to where we're going to thank some of our pilot agencies. Take it away, Cassie.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Cassie. I'm with the Tier 1 Help Desk. I also do some of the pilot coordination. And I just wanted to extend a very heartfelt thank you to our pilot agencies from the SSIS team and our Minute partners. We really have a lot of gratitude to our agencies who stepped up to pilot this release. Your diligent work in testing and your dedication to reporting all of the things that seem off in SSIS has really helped to make sure that we can have our statewide release be as painless as possible. So to Dakota, Freeborn, and Pine counties, it really has been a pleasure to work with you, and we thank you very, very, very much. That being said, if your agency is interested in participating in a pilot, please reach out to me at the email address on the screen, or you can contact the SSIS help desk and we'll get that going for you. Thanks so much. I believe it's Heidi next.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's awesome to have all of you with us today. Our SSIS Mentor of the Month was unanimously nominated by our SSIS Business section for her outstanding efforts as SSIS Mentor, and that person is Dakota County's Sue Cleveland. A few of our staff here at DCYF had the following to share about Sue's efforts. The first is Sue asks tough questions, really listens to the workers' needs, and she also does great with maximizing their revenue. The other comment is Sue does a great job communicating when staff have questions. When it comes to AFCARS related items, she's been wonderful about asking questions and making sure she understands how to fix her agency's errors. And lastly, Sue is extremely knowledgeable and is always willing to share input and feedback when we request that. Recently, she coordinated her agency being part of the 25.1 pilot, and she assisted with a couple of extra testing items when requested on short notice. We really appreciate working with Sue and her agency when we get the chance. So Sue, on behalf of the SSIS business section at DCYF, we appreciate you and all you do. If you have a mentor in your agency or in another agency who you feel should be recognized as our mentor of the month, please feel free to email me directly. And I will add my email address in the chat for anybody who might be interested in a nomination. So anyway, thank you so much. I hope all of you enjoy the presentation. And I think Ross is going back to you.
Thanks, Heidi. Next up will be Cynthia.
Good morning, everybody. We wanted to provide a regular update for the Child Protection Review that was completed last May. As folks are aware, we had many recommendations, some of which we assessed were really not going to be feasible until full modernization, and wanted to give an update on those that we have completed at this point and are working on. So of the 16 that we consider to be really feasible for right now, 9 have been completed. And that means that they've been either released in one of the last 3 releases, including the current statewide release that for 25.1. The other items that we wanted to mention that are in progress, first of all, is the out-of-home placement plan. As folks know, many of you have been involved in listening sessions, feedback sessions, input work groups, things like that, particularly last summer, that were coordinated with the folks in child safety and permanency in the foster care unit there, to get additional feedback from our child protection review. And really, this has been revised to be simplified, rearranged so that it really can be more of a helpful document. And we are working on what we consider to be an interim solution for getting something out the door for this out-of-home placement plan that was specifically designed to respond to the concerns that folks have. It's a pretty cumbersome document, and so working to try to make this easier to do for workers and more meaningful for families. So we are anticipating that we will have a product to have some initial feedback, get some user input on in the next month, and that we will have a product to release in April. This will be in addition to SSIS, and so there will be much more about this coming up soon. Additionally, we are working on the social medical history document, huge document for the life of a child, and a quick add functionality for documenting multiple substances on the substance screen for folks. This has been an ask, and we're hopeful to get this in the next release. All right, next slide, please, Ross. All right, we wanted to also mention a few activities related to modernization. First of all is a vendor assessment. As part of previous legislative sessions, we'll be completing an assessment with a outside contracted vendor to do a comprehensive assessment of the current state of SSIS and the best platform and process to move forward. So we're excited for that. We expect to be able to share out information about a vendor that's been selected very soon. And for this to start this spring and take about six months. There will be a lot more information out on our, so you can look for those updates on our partner link page and also the engagement HQ page. We'll have a lot more opportunities for people to be involved in that process. And we're really excited to get that moving forward. Thank you. All right. So the next item we wanted to talk about is our work on time entry modernization. As we all know, this can be challenging. It's difficult to know what to pick, how to pick it, and really not possible to pick it out in the field. So in partnership with our friends in the healthcare administration who are working on redesigning targeted case management claiming methodology, we are working together to update time entry module in SSIS with our goals primarily being to reduce the amount of administrative burden on caseworkers, improve accuracy, and just enhance user satisfaction. We want the screen to be easier to enter, complete the data, to know what you're doing, to feel confident that you're selecting what needs to be selected so that we can maximize that revenue. But also more importantly, that it is easy and that this will support the potential increase in time entry that will be required with the eventual targeted case management claiming methodology changes. So we're looking at first and foremost mobile solutions, particularly for the folks that are most impacted by being out in the field a lot and having the time entry burden. We've started working with our partners in user experience design research. So this means that we are interviewing many folks around the state in different roles at the local agencies that are working on time entry to have feedback and understand pain points and how they are using the time entry module to help us modernize this in a way that's going to actually add value for people who are doing the work. We'll begin testing prototypes with end users and pilots and those changes, and this will then roll out statewide. And a key feature of this again is that all of this work, the adding value to the user is going to be the key focus of this work. And so lots of additional information to come about this. For those of you who have been involved, thank you very much. There are a lot of folks around the state who have been involved. And if you have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out. You can always send something to the help desk, and Luann and Annie and Cassie and Shauna will get that to wherever it needs to go as soon as possible, like they always do. If you do have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, thanks, Cynthia. So let's get going on the 25.1 release information. And the first one up will be Andrea.
Good morning. My name is Andrea Bloom, and I'm an SSIS admin subject matter expert. We're going to start by talking about architecture. Custom user settings, including spelling options, custom dictionaries, autocorrect options, and SSIS email contact lists are now saved in the database. Settings are backed up and restored from the user's last backup. With this change, email contact lists will now be connected to the user settings. This means that clearing the user settings will also delete the user's email contact list. So if a user utilizes the SSIS email contact list, before clearing these settings, make sure that the user does a backup of all user settings so they can restore it if needed later. For those wanting to ensure they have a second backup for more extensive email lists, the import-export email list options are available. Profile clearing preparation. This change is being made to help with the issue of people having duplicate profiles. Starting with version 25.1, SSIS will no longer use settings in Azure or Horizon. These settings will instead be moved to the database along with other user settings, including spelling options, custom dictionary, autocorrect, and email address lists. For existing settings to be copied to the database, make sure you log into SSIS at least once between 6 p.m. today and the end of day on March 7th. The settings will be transferred to the database upon the user's first SSIS login. If users fail to log in during this period, they will need to recreate their settings later. After March 7th, all existing Azure profiles will be deleted to alleviate the issue where users intermittently connect to a temporary profile instead of their correct one. Users having access to multiple databases should log into each database at least once to ensure their settings are copied. If you are unable to log in during the window of February 19th to March 7th, make sure you create backups before February 19th so they can be restored in 25.1. Any questions? All right. The clients with missing SSN reports under the client data folder in general reports has been updated to a grid type report. This report lists all clients with missing social security numbers who are associated with an intake or a work group. The report can be run for department, unit, or by individual worker and filtered and sorted from there. The report does not include persons with a clearing status of unclear client, do not clear, or collaterals. The time summary by service activity. This report, found under the time folder within general reports, now correctly displays the worker detail section when run for department or unit. And I am going to pass it off to Allie.
All right, good morning, everyone. This is Allie Tesmer. I'm a data integrity subject matter expert with the SSIS Business Operations team. And this morning, I'm just going to tell you about some changes that have been made to the EPY, or Expected Parenting Youth Screen, in the 25.1 release. So a new question has been added to this screen, reading the date of birth or estimated date of birth of their firstborn child. And that was added to better meet AFCAR's reporting requirements around EPY records. The question will be blank on any current or first EPY record added after this release, but any future EPY records will carry over the value from previously entered information on this field. The question, has the youth ever fathered or bore a child, will also now carry forward a yes value if there has been a yes value entered on previous EPY records. All EPY screen help text has been reviewed or updated. And just a reminder to check your repository for error number 4130 and fix those errors as needed. And I will pass it to Marcia.
Good morning. This is Marcia Riss. I'm the SSIS Change and Engagement Consultant with SSIS Business Operations. I'm going to go through a couple of issues, defects, and some fixes to defects. So the first one that we're showing here, this is one, if you recall, after 24.4, there was an issue in which the time for staff who were assigned from the assignment log would show up as 12 a.m. if the assigner had edited the date or the time for that assignment start date. This defect is now fixed. The assignment start date time now correctly appears in the worker's start date and time fields under the staff assignment folder upon worker assignment from the assignment log. Another fixed defect, the defect that was causing the case notes as well as documentation time fields to clear and appear as blank upon saving when the user had changed the date or the time fields. So for example, when a user backdates a case note, this has been resolved. The date and time, once again, will default to the date and time will default to the current day and time. However, users are again now able to edit those fields before saving a new case note or new documentation, and the modified date and time will correctly save. And on the flip side now, the not so good news, we have a returned defect. So while we're happy that the other issues noted were resolved, we do have to report that there was a return to a previous defect, which had been discovered too late in this release cycle to try and fix without adding too much additional risk. So this error was first reported after the 24.4 release, but if you recall, at that time we were able to resolve it along with fixes to some of other critical errors with the SSIS special release. So this defect affects users who use that expanded editor. So not everybody uses that, but those that do, if you're using the expanded editor when creating or editing case notes. So we're not talking about activities or contacts, we're talking specifically about case notes from the chronology. They will run into access violation errors and will be unable to save the text that they had entered within that expanded editor. So the workaround is, same as last time, is not to use the expanded editor when creating or editing case notes. Instead, enter the text directly into the notes field. This defect does not affect activity and contact notes, so including anything you're creating in the activity log, which would be an activity or contact. However, it will affect any associated case note, time note, if the user tries to edit that time note using the expanded editor in the same manner. We are pushing hard to get that fixed for 25.2, but want to make sure people are aware of that issue. The next one, we have a new defect, which really appears to have started in 24.4, but was just recently brought to our attention. So in this one, using the expanded editor, so that blue E again, to view the contents of a case note. So if you're just trying to go in there and view it, not edit it, it will change the last edit date when there's no edits that have been made, right? So it shouldn't be changing that date, but it is changing that last edit date. And of course, that's happening whether it's finalized or not finalized. So that's a problem. If the note has not yet been finalized, then using the expanded editor, even just to view that note, will also result in the finalized date being extended further out. To avoid this, again, view those case notes from within chronology window. Do not expand the editor for viewing. So again, this, along with the other one, we're hoping to have fixed and resolved for 25.2. Because both were found so late in our release cycle, we don't want to add any more risk and issues by trying to push something in really late. We're going to work hard to have those fixed for the next release. Any questions on those? All right, I think the next person is Cassie.
Thanks, Marcia. Cassie back again. We have an update to the MAPCs. The business rule for MAPC reset to draft has been updated. This is going to help agencies to have a little bit more autonomy when it comes to needing to correct MAPCs before they've been approved. The reset to draft option is now enabled when the MAPC status is pending agency approval and there are no extraordinary levels, or when the extraordinary levels status is set to one of the following: either draft, not eligible, not agency certified, or pending agency certification. So just a reminder that users must have either the Access MAPC function or the Approve MAPC function assigned to their role in order to complete this task. So that's kind of wordy. Make sure to take a look at that so that you make sure you have the right statuses on your MAPC to be able to reset that back to draft. Thank you.
Okay, I am Erica Peterson, a child welfare subject matter expert in SSIS business operations. I have a few updates to share. First, there have been a few updates to reports to include the non-caregiver trafficking track, the maltreatment allegation summary report. The report notes have been updated to reflect that it excludes NCA reports. The work group detail report was updated to print the complete text for NCA. So in the child maltreatment report section of that work group detail report now shows NCA non-caregiver trafficking assessment. And then switching gears, the SDM safety tool has been updated with this release, and we'll go through briefly some of the changes that have been made. So the tool is updated to address disparities in outcomes and concerns of functionality. The recent updates to the safety assessment tool align with and address the concerns that were outlined in the complaint that was filed with the Office of Civil Rights. Overall, the setup portion of the tool has remained the same as all other tools, with the addition of the evident changed logo in the top right corner. Regarding the child vulnerability tab specifically, I would like to note that all items on this tab have been updated. With these changes, I do recommend reading through carefully to ensure the accurate child vulnerability factors have been selected when completing the tool. The help text has also been updated to reflect the changes and to provide new definitions and examples of each item. Workers will be required to select at least one field in this tab. And then we'll move to the safety factors tab. So again, many of the items on the safety factors tab have been changed, reworded, or removed. Again, all of the help text has been updated to reflect these changes. The requirements for the safety factor description remain the same as previous tools. So this means that at least one field must be selected, either a specific safety factor or the no safety factors apply field. And then the safety factor description text field is required when one or more safety factors are selected. And then last, the third tab has been changed from safety response to safety planning. The tab is only enabled and required when a safety factor is selected in the safety factors tab. Parts A and B are new with this update to outline complicating factors and protective capacities that are present in the family. The help text has again been updated to reflect the changes. SSIS will require at least one selection from Part A and one selection from Part B. And then Part C, so the language has changed again for these items. SSIS will require at least one selection from this part as well. The safety response description text field is required when any safety intervention is selected. So after the release of the new version of the tool, workers will be able to view and or finish any existing safety assessment tool in the previous version. With this being said, any new tools will be created in the new version. Lastly, I would like to note that there will be language updates changing non-offending caregiver to caregiver who is not causing harm in a future release. So there are a few spots, specifically safety interventions 1 and 4, as well as some help text that will be updated to that new language to ensure that the language is consistent throughout. And I think that is all I have for the SDM tool. I'll pass it back to Marcia.
Great. Thanks, Erica. Okay, so a new service plan labeled 180-day transition plan for youth is now available and will replace the 90-day transition plan for youth discharged after age 18. This plan can be found in the Workgroup's Service Plan folder under New State Service Plan. The statute changed back in 2021, requiring the transition plan to be completed in 180 days instead of 90 days. However, the plan was not updated in SSIS at that time. The title now coincides with the statutory requirement. Copying an existing 90-day transition plan for youth discharged after age 18 will instead now create the new 180-day transition plan for youth, with most of those field values transferring to the new service plan. Of note, the health insurance information is no longer a part of the service plan. So for more information on this service plan, you can also see the extended foster care practice guide for youth ages 18 up to 21. It's going to be located on the SSIS worker documentation page under the placement and permanency section. And I think we're off to Allie.
Thanks, Marcia. All right, so we're going to get into a couple of new and updated repository errors that are coming out in SSIS version 25.1. And so we want to just remind people to be sure to keep your eye out for the new repository errors and some of these updated ones when you're doing your monthly repository read. So first off, we have the new edition, which is error number 4140. Parent-guardian relationship required, that has been added. This error will display when a continuous placement is open or has been closed within the last 370 days. And the family structure field from the continuous placement screen is not structure unknown, abandoned child. And there are no parent-guardian relationships for the child entered on the relationship screen. The relationships that need to be entered to resolve this error are birth parent, adoptive parent, or legal guardian. All right, error number 4061, caretaker family structure unknown, was updated to reflect changes for the new AFCARS file. And this error will no longer display for youth that were 18 or older at the start of a continuous placement. The error will display when continuous placement is open or has been closed within 370 days, and the child is under 18 at the start of the continuous placement, and the continuous placement screen's family structure has structure unknown, no identified caretaker selected. Error number 4021, foster caretaker race required, was also updated to reflect changes for the AFCARS file and updated to include all appropriate setting types that require foster parent entry. A tip on how to fix this is to go into the BizOrg provider on the placement screen, then go into the individual providers listed and ensure that you have a race entered for all foster parents listed by right-clicking on the name race folder under the participant and clicking new race. And error 4057, foster parent appears too young or too old, updated to reflect changes for the new AFCARS file, and also updated to include all appropriate setting types that require foster parent entry. The error will display if an associated foster parent shows as less than 10 years old or over 100 years old. And to resolve this error, you'll want to be sure that you're checking the estimated age or date of birth for the individual provider or providers that are listed. Any questions on those repository updates or the new error? All right, well, I will pass it over to Holly.
Morning, I'm Holly, fiscal subject matter expert with SSIS Business Operations. We have some updates with the child foster care report. There was a defect that has been resolved in this release related to the child foster care report and the new 4E setting type that is set on claims. When a child is placed in a group facility that is not QRTP certified and moves from one unit or cottage in that facility to another that is QRTP certified, agencies have been instructed to end the placement and start a new one because all of the QRTP timelines are triggered off the placement start date. The 4E setting type was previously being missed on new child foster care claims in this situation, and that has now been corrected. QRTP certified placements for 4E eligible children should now display the 4E setting type on the claim as specified setting childcare institution. We do have a new defect on the child foster care report with this release related to custom grid settings. When a user saves their custom settings, this grid does not retain those settings when logging out and back in. There is a screenshot on the slide showing the claims tab of the state report it impacts and the utilities option to select backup user grid settings. I will pass it now to Carrie.
Hi, good morning. I'm Carrie Kaiser, a fiscal trainer and subject matter expert. Using the Send for Approval action removes the badge completely from the screen when selecting more than one payment from a newly created payment badge. The issue occurs the first time the payments are sent for approval. The workaround is to use the payment badge search to find your payments with the status of pending approval. To be clear, this only removes the badge from the screen you are viewing. It does not delete the badge out of SSIS. Payments using BRASS Service 123 chore services will now have a Seeger unit automatically convert from 4 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and an hour. The default Seeger unit type is hour. A screenshot here shows the payment unit type entered as 15 minutes, and the system automatically converted this to report the 4 payment units at 1 Seeger unit. That will be reflected on the quarterly state Seeger report. Payments using BRASS Service 550 Day Support Services will now have Seeger units automatically convert 4 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and an hour. The default Seeger unit type is 15 minutes. A screenshot below BRASS 550 shows the payment unit type entered as hour, and the system automatically converts this to the report, the 3 payment units, and as 12 Seeger units on the state report. SSIS has added NM as major program for CWTCM claiming, effective 10/1/24. Listed below are the major programs SSIS is programmed to claim CWTCM as of SSIS release 25.1. And lastly, I would like to announce as CWTCM healthcare claiming training is coming, so save the date. The training will focus on the fiscal side of CWTCM and healthcare claiming in SSIS. The training will be offered quarterly starting March 18th and again June 17th, with more dates to follow. This is a repeat training session. You can click on the link to register for the session that works with your schedule. We also have the training link registration on the SSIS engagement and information site and will be in the SSIS updates. Please help spread the word and let your fiscal staff know. And with that, does anybody have any questions? If not, I think I will pass it to Eric.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Eric, supervisor for the user support team here in the SSIS business section. And just here to remind you of some online resources we have available for our SSIS mentor and coordinator population. As pictured on this slide with the link, we have the link to our SSIS resource page on Partner Link. As always, we have links to release information, links to the mentor program, and the SSIS update archive, as well as many other additional resources over there on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, we have a lot of information regarding SSIS training opportunities or online training modules. I'm going to take over the sharing aspect of this because I want to kind of go into detail about SSIS Engagement HQ. So again, we have this new link up here on the SSIS resource page to engage with us. And this top link will take you over to our SSIS engagement and information site. This is live, folks. Okay, so we have the SSIS resource page. When we click on this top link, it's going to bring you to the SSIS engagement and information site. Up here in the top left corner, it gives you a brief overview of what this page is about, as well as the SSIS business section here at DCYF. What I do want to highlight for folks is that you'll find the same information on this site as you would on the SSIS resource page. However, we're able to lay it out differently to provide a little bit more context. So what I wanted to do is take an opportunity to quickly go over the anatomy of this screen to better inform our SSIS mentor and coordinator population about how it functions and what we intend to do with this site. And that is to provide information and create opportunities for community. So over here on the left-hand side, you'll notice the SSIS resources and information. This is going to give you sort of a what's trending view of what's happening in SSIS. So the first article you'll see is that information that Andrea covered in the beginning of this webinar that discusses saving your settings and email lists starting with this version release. So you'll get more information here. And we've also provided some communications around this within this webinar, as I indicated, as well as in SSIS updates. As you travel down the page, you're going to get more training and documentation resources. You're going to get information about contacting the Tier 1 Help Desk. When you select the continue reading option, it's going to give you the latest information that we provided in December about some trending items or high flyers that we receive at the Tier 1 Help Desk and how a lot of those issues are remedied or what you at your agency can do to sort of problem solve around them. And then we have the SSIS coordinator and mentor information. This is a direct link from our partner link page. But as you continue reading, you can get information about worker mentor contacts by agency, physical mentor contacts by agency, as well as a link to our SSIS mentor manual. And then other trending items that have happened over the course of the last 6 months are around our AFCARS reporting. So a lot of information can be sought out within this section to provide information related to what we've put out in SSIS updates, etc. Another trending item is our Family First Prevention Services Act. We have the recent release of prevention services, so there are links in here for agency mentors and coordinators to peruse around the FFPSA. And then at the very bottom here, we have a link to our website with the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy to our SSIS update archive. And quickly over here on the right-hand side, as I travel back up the page, we have some widgets. There's links to old SSIS update newsletter, or to sign up for the newsletter, to go to our archive, as well as any pilot and release information. And then Carrie indicated that she had just launched her CWTCM training modules, and you can sign up for those training modules over here on the right-hand side. And we'll also have other key dates over here on the right-hand side for you to sign up for, including our SSIS Coffee Talk webinar series. So anytime that's announced in an SSIS update, we'll be sure to put a quick link on this page for mentors and coordinators to sign up for that, so you don't have to search through your email archive and find that SSIS update to sign up for that. One thing I do want to also highlight before I turn it back over to Ross is, as we travel down the page here and we go to the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy, the SSIS Learning and Development Team is going through each one of our archived mentor coffee talks. And we are adding these agenda discussion topics with timestamps. So say you remember hearing something in a coffee talk and you want to quickly reference that. You can go to this agenda discussion topics with timestamp document, pull it up, and then a link will take you directly to the point in that webinar where items were discussed. So this is an extra added resource for our mentors and coordinators who need to find information in a timely manner. We do not have the webinar agenda and timestamps up for every webinar yet. However, we do intend to have that over time. So that's an extra added resource for you all to peruse. And I'm going to hand it back over to Ross. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you. Trying to get my, can everybody see my PowerPoint that I'm resharing?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
All right, hold on. How about now?
Yep.
Yes.
There it is.
All right. So, Eric, did you cover new agenda discussion topics and
I
timestamp?
did. Yep.
You did. All right. All right. So I will take over here with the resources, SSIS resources for the coffee talk. For information related to this coffee talk, please reach out to our SSIS help desk. And to review previous coffee talks, you can, of course, go to the Engagement HQ website that Eric just showed you, and or go to the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy site to locate those. The next coffee talk will be in March on Tuesday, March 25th. And the topic will be SSIS tools for supervisors and lead workers. As always, it'll be from 9 to 10:30. More information will be coming soon. Look forward to seeing you in that coffee talk. As always, thank you for coming and getting the information straight from us in regards to SSIS release. Stay golden, Minnesota. Radio Ross out.